Hi, I'm Gary Main. This is Made to Persuade. Question: are your customers and existing clients based in the UK? Because if so, there is a massive opportunity coming your way. So just bear with me. This is not going to take very long, but the results will be utterly astounding. Now, as we all know, living in the UK, then come Sunday at 2 a.m, then our clocks are going to go back because that's the end of British summertime, and we're going to revert back to GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. Now, how does that affect you? Well, the thing is, if you're anything like me, then Sunday morning, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be walking around the house thinking to myself, that clock's wrong, that clock's wrong, that clock's wrong, that clock's wrong. And you know the one that gets me most is the oven. Now, I have just given myself a task because now I have to go and find instructions because I can't remember 6 months ago when I changed it last time. I have to go and search endless websites, trawling through manufacturers, download, support, forums to try and find the instructions on how to change the clock on an oven. How ridiculous is that? Now I've got a choice. For the next 6 months I can just leave it alone and not change it, which happens to be what happens to my mum's car every single year. Anyway, so how can you as a business take advantage of this? It's so simple, but the psychology behind it is utterly beautiful. Let me explain. Now, you know that come Sunday morning, there are going to be clocks around your home that you can't remember how to change. Similarly, on Monday morning, your clients and prospects are going to be looking at products, devices that you've provided them, thinking to themselves, the clock's wrong, how do I change it? They're going to have to go to your website, they're going to have to go to the manufacturer's website, they're going to have to trawl endless forums to try and locate the instructions on how to change the clock on the device or the product that you've provided them. So what about this? What about you preempt that? Because you know what's going to happen, right? So why don't you preempt it? Why don't you send them an email saying, you have this product that you've bought from us. Come Monday morning, you're going to want to change the clock. If it hasn't changed automatically, these are the instructions on how to do it. Alternatively, send an email with a link to the support files that show a prospect very, very quickly and easily how to change the clock on the product and the device that you provided them. If you've got call recording, fantastic. Record the instructions on how to change the clock, particularly if it's a telephone system, for example, or a CCC security device, or an alarm system. Record the instructions on how to change the clock on that device and send it to them on a blanket email. Alternatively, what about creating a landing page? Well, somewhere on your website, on your homepage, which directs someone immediately to how to change the clock on the device or the product that you've provided them. Now that sounds really easy, doesn't it? But the psychology, as I said before, is absolutely beautiful. So let's start at the very beginning. Let's talk about something that's called the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity states that if you provide someone something that they perceive as valuable and ask for nothing in exchange, then it will induce a desire in that person to want to give you something in return. How does that work? Well, think of it much like this. If you're walking down a corridor and there's a set of double doors and you get the door for someone after you, what happens at the next set of doors? Exactly, they get the door for you. Similarly, if I was to buy a round of drinks for people and then without even asking them, buy them another round of drinks. In that group, there will be people that feel uncomfortable with this. And as soon as I imply I'm going to go to the bar to get a third drink, they will stop me dead and say, look, Gary, let me get you one. Why? Because I provided them something that had a perceived value. And in exchange, they now want to do me the good favour back. Otherwise, they feel guilty and feel uncomfortable. So you have that opportunity. What can you give that has a perceived value? Well, you're preventing them from struggling. You're preventing them from having to research on the internet for these instructions. You've preempted it and you've sent them something which to them has a perceived value. What could they give you in return? An upsell opportunity, a thank you, a testimonial, but more importantly, they are going to be talking to other people in the next day, week, month, year. And you are the only provider. Let's think about it. In their business, they have 7 different clocks. You're the only company that sent them instructions on how to change it. Surely that differentiates you from all your competitors. Which leads me very nicely to the law of contrast. The law of contrast states that when you've got similar products or services, if you present them closer in time and space, their differences become more apparent. Now, what the heck does that mean? I can feel you, I can hear you saying it. So let me describe it like this. If I introduce you to two of my friends, they're identical twins. If I introduced you to one on a Monday and the other one on the following Friday, you wouldn't be able to locate their differences. You wouldn't be able to see the differences between them. However, if I present them closer in time and space, i.e. put them in the same room at the same time, their differences become more apparent. So, just by sending this simple email with instructions on how to change the clock, you have an opportunity to utilize the law of contrast and separate yourself from all the competitors and everybody else that they're doing business with. In comparison to the others, you did something remarkable and that had a perceived value. One more thing, empathy. It is well known, it's been researched, it's been proven time and time again that empathy is a crucial, vital element to enable you to persuade, influence, or to sell to another human being. How much empathy have you just shown for the problems that could occur for your prospect, your client, and your customer? It's immense. You've already predicted the struggle and the worry that they're going to have, or the hassle they're going to have in changing this clock on the product that you've provided them. You've preempted that. You've sent them something which shows amazing empathy, and you don't want them to go through this struggle. Fantastic. So there you go. A very, very simple strategy, but the psychology and the effect of it is absolutely beautiful. Now, if you are looking to bring someone in, and let me explain. If you want someone to come in and you're after refresher training, or for someone to shout at your team saying activity, 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 or explaining what a referrer is, then quite simply, I'm not the right person for you. However, if you are looking for someone to take the science of influence and persuasion, the neuropsychology of consumer, of decision making, and place that into real proven strategies to help your sales business grow, then by all means, give me a shout, subscribe to the channel below. Don't forget that little bell. Click that and you'll be updated with every new video that I do. I'm Gary May, this is Made to Persuade, and I'll see you on the next video.